All right, so we're online, Tiffany. My name's Virginia Muskis. Good morning, everybody. I'm the referral diva, and this is Get Connected, the place where BNI members go to get all the information they need to top out their ROR, return on relationship, through word of mouth marketing skills. And today I am super privileged to have a dear friend, someone who's taught me an awful lot about referral marketing. And for those of you who are watching that maybe have done the Referrals for Life program, meet Tiffanie Kellog, the author of the Referral Partner Resource Manual way back when at my very first Referral Institute conference. So we've been using that, Tiffany, for years and years and years here in the St. Louis market. And I always give you props, and now they get to put a face to the name. So this is Tiffany, and she hails from Florida. She's a BNI member, a BNI trainer, a Referral Institute trainer. She's amazing, amazing, amazing. And now she's a brand new author. So hold up your book, Tiffany. This is Tiffany's new book, 4.5 Networking Mistakes. These are mistakes you never, ever, ever want to make. So welcome, Tiffany. And why don't you just let everybody know a little bit more about you and how you got started in BNI and referral marketing and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. In 2005, I actually got invited to my very first BNI meeting. It was the first networking event that I ever attended. And my husband and I owned a promotional products company, and I quickly fell in love with what BNI and the Referral Institute had to offer. And I quickly found out that I had no clue what I was doing when it came to referral marketing. And so BNI and the Referral Institute gave me the opportunity to learn how to do it, so much so that I started training the material way back in 2006 and spent the past decade really honing my skills when it comes to referral marketing. And so it's a privilege to be able to be on here today and share a little with you.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So there are these 4.5 mistakes. I think there's 100 million of them, but you selected 4 and a partial one. So why don't we kind of talk one by one about the mistakes, and then maybe we can give our viewers just a little bit, a little tidbit about why they're mistakes and what maybe people could do to do better when they're out there networking.
Sure. So the premise is there's 4.5 mistakes. So 4 mistakes that almost every other networking expert will tell you you really want to do this. For example, the first mistake is, when you meet people, make sure you give them your business card. And almost every networking expert will be like, make sure you give them your business card. And I don't know about you, but when I'm networking, there's always that one person that comes up to me. They're on their way out the door. I don't have time to meet you, but I just want to give you my business card really quick.
Yeah.
I call that in-person spamming.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
Because it's essentially what happens. Somebody has crammed into your hand their business card, and you may or may not have wanted it. And so, that's one of the mistakes, because to me, you shouldn't give out your business card unless you're asked for your business card.
Well, yeah, there are 2 things. I don't know if I ever told you the story of going to speak at a function, and it was in a brownstone, and I had to walk up the stairs, and there was a guy at the door. And as I was walking up the brownstone, this arm flung out like into the open door with a business card attached to the end of it. And it startled me so much that I fell backwards down the stairs, and I landed on this guy that was behind me.
Oh no.
So I was good. I know, I was like bloody, and I had to speak, and I was like, oh, my back. And so like I'm on this guy, and he like rolled me over, and he like stood me up, and I go into the restroom. This is that part's pretty funny. It's a little embarrassing. But what was really classic was I went into the restroom and I cleaned up, and then I looked at to throw the paper towel in the trash can, and all of his business cards were in the trash can. Like there's a big pile of this guy's business cards in the trash can. And so I started saying, I've heard, right, that your business cards don't do anything for you sitting in the box on your desk. I think they do less for you sitting in the trash can in the ladies' room at a function. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So Tiffany, what do you think a couple of ways of getting someone to ask for your business card? What can we do to get people to say, may I have your card?
I think one of the most simple things is simply asking others, hey, can I have one of your business cards? And the hope is that when you ask for their card, that they will reciprocate and want to have yours as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, sometimes they won't ask for your card.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, that means they're probably not interested today in getting your information. And it could be that they're just having a bad day. It could be that they know people that do what you do. We're not necessarily going to go into the reason, just they may not want your card. Now, if you have their card, you can certainly follow up with them, connect with them on social media. However, you don't want to become a stalker.
Yeah.
Spamming and stalking don't go well with networking.
Yeah, absolutely not. And I also think that the way to get people to ask for your business card is to be interesting. And I think it's Phil that I've heard say it is that Phil Bedford is that the easiest way for someone to find you interesting is to act interested.
Oh yeah, I can see Phil saying that.
Yeah. So asking questions and getting to know people and making them feel like you actually have a personal interest in them. So, all right.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's an interesting segue, because one of the other mistakes that we talk about is, so many people talk about having an elevator pitch, and really, if you think about networking events, people go to, talk to other people and to talk about their business, but people rarely go to buy. This is the whole, Dr. Meisner and Brennan Scanlon has a brand new book out, The Networking Disconnected. It is all about this. And so a lot of times.
2 weeks ago.
What?
Brennan was on the show 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so.
okay, cool. Yeah. Perfect. So those of you that saw it 2 weeks ago, you've learned about that. And to me, the elevator pitch is, for me to pitch my product or service to you in a short amount of time. But if we're not going to networking events to buy things, then the pitch, there's the disconnect. And so if you can connect with people, if you can, genuinely get to know a little bit about them, much more likely to have some communication after the event.
Absolutely.
A lot of times I think networking is kind of like dating. Now, I haven't dated in almost 2 decades. I've been with my husband for a while, but it reminds me of dating. 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, when you go, the intention isn't for most people, the intention isn't I want to, date everybody at this event. It's I want to find 1 or 2 of the people, the right relationships, whether it could be contact, whether it could be referral sources, or whether it could be prospects. And so it's not necessarily about quantity as it is about quality and connecting with the right people.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that I tell my BNI members here, turn your volume down a little, Tiff, because there's a little echo.
Sorry.
That's all right. So one of the things that I've been sharing with my BNI members is that the most highly leveraged way to network is we go around the room and we take notes on what everybody's looking for, right? And then typically, if anybody's listening is like I have been in my 17 years in BNI, we go, nope, don't know that one. Nope, I don't know anybody. Nope. And we get to the bottom of the list and we didn't know anybody, so there's nothing to do, right? We just take the list, cram it in the bag, out we go, we do our week. And so I've been challenging people to say, when you're out networking and someone says, I'm looking for a podiatrist, or I need a good CPA to refer to, or I'm looking to meet Brenda McGillicuddy from ABC Corporation, why not take that list and for the first time ever, go networking with a shopping list? But it isn't really a buying list, it's a connecting list. And the power of having your entire BNI referral group out there at different events looking for those people. Think about it. If you have 30 people in your chapter and every week, every person engaged in looking for the items on the list, what would happen to the value of a seat in your chapter?
Go up dramatically.
Yeah, dramatically, right? Because people would be out doing the work instead of just sort of passively sitting by and saying, I don't know that person, I don't have that person, so my work is done. And the other flip side of that is, how beneficial is it when you're going out and you're adding those people to your network and then helping them grow their business? I mean, you just become a huge influencer. And certainly everyone will ask you for your card because they'll know who you are.
Right. Definitely.
Okay, mistake number 2.
So mistake number 2 is actually, let me do the half first, if I can.
Okay, the half, go.
Yeah, and so people are like, okay, how is there a half networking mistake? Like, what sense does that make? And this was something that a lot of the experts tell you to do, but not all of the experts tell you to do. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of why we made it the half networking mistake. And what the half networking mistake is all about is they tell you, okay, not only pass on one of your business cards, but you pass on multiple of your business cards. You know, here's a business card for you and a couple more for you to pass on. And the reason I think this is not something to do, I think it's a mistake, is if you're meeting someone for the very first time, what is the likelihood of that person referring you?
In my world, zero. I wouldn't put my reputation on the line for somebody I just met at a mixer.
Right, yeah. And so, I mean, every once in a while, there's that, oh my gosh, I need you because I don't have anybody else in my network that does what you do. And then you can ask for another card. But to me, people aren't going to refer you the very first time they meet you. And so you're kind of getting ahead of yourself. Another kind of dating analogy, you know, here, when you're saying, here's a bunch of my cards, refer me, it's kind of like asking someone that you're on a blind date with to get married. You're ahead of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And
absolutely.
It's just not appropriate.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So there's the half mistake. So, so the idea is to go ahead and ask for their business card, but not ask for multiples of their business card yet. Yeah.
Yes. And then you want to make sure that you keep, you know, that you only pass out one of your cards.
Got it.
So I like to, you know, in the book, I like to think, you know, that those kind of go together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's mistake 1 and 1.5.
Got it. Got it.
And then when we move on to mistake number 2, what's something that you always want to wear when you're networking?
A name tag.
Yes. You always want to have a name tag. And to me, there's a couple different kinds of name tags. There's the kind of name tag that shares your company, or you're a sponsor at an event, or you're at certain mixers. But when it comes to networking, I think a lot of times when you have your profession or your name tag, your profession or your company on your name tag, that will actually hinder the conversation. Because if I look at your name tag and see, you know, that, oh, you're a realtor, you're an attorney, you're in insurance, then I know what you do. And I don't need to ask you anything else about it, assuming that I have, you know, how many financial advisors do we know?
Right.
And so I think while the mistake, I mean, you always want to wear a name tag when you're networking, but the mistake comes in putting too much information on the name tag. You really want to have a name tag that's a conversation starting name tag, where people look at the name tag and they have to ask you, what's that all about? Instead of looking at the name tag and saying, oh, I know what you do.
Right. The interesting thing about that too is when you lead with your profession, anytime you lead with your profession, you are subject to the experience that individual has had with every other person in that profession except for you up until now. So if you say, I'm an attorney, well, they may have had a great experience with an attorney and then they love you because you are an attorney and they love the attorney. Or they may have had a horrible experience with the carpet cleaner and you say you're a carpet cleaner and they want nothing to do ever again with carpet cleaners because they've had one bad experience, but then all of them are bad, right?
Yeah.
So you're really allowing people to, it's like an amygdala trigger, right? It like triggers their fear response, like, oh, I had a bad experience with that one time. So you like remind them of some horrible, torturous thing that happened to them, and they don't want to know you, which is bad for them. So yeah.
Right. It ends the conversation instead of starting or continuing the conversation.
Mm-hmm. And so let me ask you this. I don't know if this is mistake 3 or if this is in mistake 3 or 4, but you brought up the elevator pitch. And I know we have spent in Referral Institute countless hours crafting pithy little question generating, you know. I remember one person, and you may know who this was, said something about, I sometimes wear size 7 shoes to get in my client's head or something like that. And I was like, what? Like, I don't get it. And the idea was, he was a big guy, and it was like, I get into people's shoes, so I see it from their direction. But it confused more than pulled a question. And so I kind of have a formula for how I like to do it. How do you like to introduce yourself when someone says, oh, what do you do? How do you like to introduce yourself?
So that is actually, ditch the elevator pitch is mistake number 3. We want to get rid of it. And so we have to answer in some way when people say, well, what do you do? And when you lead with your profession, whether it's on your name tag or answering, then you're always going to, get put in that box of what they think. So what I encourage people to do is when asked, well, what do you do? To actually use what I call an I help statement, which is where you share, this is how I help my clients. And so you want to lead with, here's what you help your clients create. Now, if they're interested, hopefully then they'll ask, well, how do you do that? What's that look like? And then we talk about using a funneling conversation, which is just a series of questions, yes or no, to determine, could you be a good prospect for me or not?
Good. All right. So I like the I help statement. Fred Miller with No Sweat Public Speaking uses the my clients hire me to get an outcome. So he'll say my clients hire me to so they can overcome their fear of public speaking and wow everyone they meet, or something, something like that they have. He has like a pain and a pleasure, and it's a really I like it. My clients hire me because it makes you sound like you've been hired.
Well, that's true, and I think both of those have the end result in mind. For so many people, we get hired not because of what we do, and it's not about the process that we put people through. It's about the end result that people are looking for, whether it's making more money, reducing time, reducing stress, being having more fun in life. I think that it's about what we can create as entrepreneurs that's super important. Versus, here's how we actually do it.
Yeah. And there's, do you know who Danielle Laporte is? She wrote a book called Fire Starter Questions and another one called The Desire Map. And I love what she says because I think it's really relevant to a lot of what I know about neurobiology and the chemistry of emotion and how we make buying decisions emotionally and then justify them rationally and all that kind of thing. And she talks about identifying your 5 core desired feelings. And so I think what's really interesting is because I help my clients overcome a specific problem so they can feel this way. Because what we're really all chasing after is some sort of a feeling of peace or a feeling of excitement or a feeling of gratitude or a feeling like we all want to feel something. And we often rely on is your puppy yapping?
She is. Cute. Sorry.
Okay. Maybe she wants to join in the conversation, right?
Yeah, she's like just hanging out.
Oh, there she is. Oh, she's got her. Man, she had her head whip in there.
Quiet now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, she's doing the nay there. Oh. So yeah, to me, it seems really relevant to think about when we're out networking. If we step back a little and look at when we have a super satisfied client, what is the emotion that they express? What is the feeling that they express? Oh, I feel so much peace. Oh, I feel so calm, or I'm less stressed, or everything makes sense and I'm not overwhelmed. And I think from that standpoint, really thinking about our job as not necessarily selling widgets or coaching programs or providing systems, but helping people reach a place where they feel the way they most ardently desire to feel. And then our product or service just becomes kind of a tool for doing that instead of the thing that we sell. So mistake number 4.
So mistake number 4, have you ever met that person that seems to be at every networking event, like 4, 6, 8 networking events a day, dozens each week?
Yeah.
You network. And so mistake number 4 is actually networking isn't enough. Like networking is a great place to start to build relationships, but if all you're doing in building your relationships is going networking and seeing them a couple minutes at a time, then you're probably going to have a hard time developing really strong relationships. And so to me, networking is just the start. Like speed dating. You go out, you try and find the right people, and then you're going to have to go offline, or you're going to have to go outside of the group to meet for coffee, to have a lunch, to sit down in each other's office and discuss business. How can we help each other? And so to me, networking is just the start. to find the people, to develop referral generating relationships. And so much of that has to happen outside of the networking arena.
Exactly. So for you, I love the dating metaphor, right? Like, you don't go to a bar to get married, right? And you don't, and you don't really get to know somebody unless they're a regular at the bar, right? So if you're the bartender, you got to be a regular. So, does that fit? Where does that fit kind of into your mindset and your 4.5 networking mistakes and the going to a million events kind of thing?
To me, the events are like the opportunity to meet at the first time, whether it's the grocery store, at the bar, two friends have set you up, you're meeting for the first time. But if you really want to, develop a serious relationship and maybe get married, you're probably going to need some one-on-one time, whether it's, one-on-one for dating or one-on-one for the networking. That one-on-one time is going to be crucial in developing a strong enough relationship where you get to pass referrals.
Exactly. And I think there's also a sense for me that if you have too much of a sense of urgency about
desperation maybe.
Okay, urgency. So if you're just a little too urgent in your desire to meet people, I think that really screws up networking. And I was at a networking event. Oh, I guess was it last week? My days all flow into one another. I'm not much one for time. But I was at this networking event, and I'll give it a pitch. It's called Wine Down Thursday, and it's at the Fox and the Hound on the second Thursday of every night in Chesterfield. So there you go. So I went, and there were a lot of BNI members there, but what was really great is they had people kind of stationed around. And so when you came in, they were like, oh, hey, hi, who are you? Tell me about you. How did you find out about this event? Who did you come to meet? Do you know anybody in particular? And so they really kind of shepherded everybody to, oh, hey, Frank, have you met Virginia? Frank does this, Virginia does that, you guys go. And then they walked away. And I've seen that also. Another one of my future guests, his name is Brian Goldman, and he runs a chamber here in St. Louis called the Northwest Chamber of Commerce. And he has 300 people at his chamber luncheon. So you can imagine what a chaotic fiasco that could be, right?
Yes.
So he really has created this amazing ambassador team that does exactly that. They meet you at the door. If you've got a visitor name tag, you are not alone if you're a visitor. And if you are wearing a chamber name tag, it's your job to be an ambassador. And who do you need to know? And who would you like to meet? And the most ironic thing is how many people say, nobody in particular. Like, I don't know. I just came to meet people. So talk about the specificity thing.
Yeah, I think that the more specific that you can be, the better. We have a saying Tom Fleming uses,
to be
specific that you are and what you're looking to create, the more power you are to actually get it. This happened to me in 2007. I was looking for a specific car dealership as a client for the promotional products business. I wanted the Furman dealership on 54. And I asked for ages, and I still use this example quite a bit, and I've still never been referred into the Furman dealership on 54. Though when I share with people this is what I'm looking to create, I was asking for maybe a month straight. This is in my BNI chapter. This is who I want. And I never got the Furman dealership on 54, but during that month, I got referred to 5 other car dealerships just by being super specific about here's the ideal client that I'm looking to meet. And so in the book, I talk about there's 19 networking nuggets to go along with the 4.5 networking mistakes. And one of those nuggets is, set a goal for the number and type of people that you want to meet. And so whether it's by profession, by, geography, know what you want to do when you attend an event. Because if you're just attending an event to kind of check it off your list, you're missing an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, on a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
I think when I was talking to somebody the other day, and he said, oh, well, how can I help you? And of course I said, well, you can do one of these 3 things. And he said, that is the first time anybody has ever answered that question with, oh, I don't know, I'll get back to you, So
many people do that. They're like, what can I do to help you out? I don't know.
Yeah. So a couple of the things that I think are really important is to understand that this networking thing pays dividends when you're strategic about it. It doesn't pay dividends when you are just going because you should. Like there's all these shoulds, these I call them the mega networking myths. It's the mythology of it all, and you got to myth bust if you're gonna build your business using using networking. And I always go back to the dating thing, because you got to network the way you date. If you just go to bars to find a guy or go to a bar to find a girl, like you're going to date all kinds of weirdos that don't really, they may be perfectly nice people, but for you, you're like,
not the right fit.
Oh, wow, this is painful, right? So it isn't until you get real clarity, and that's where a lot of these, like eHarmony, where they ask you 9 billion questions, or It's Just Lunch, where you have to go in for like a 2-hour interview. It's really about getting clarity about who you want in your room, right? Which is the Who's in Your Room book.
Right.
If you don't know what you need and you don't know who you want to meet, how am I supposed to know?
Right.
I can't. Otherwise, I'm just guessing, and I think that's probably the number one reason why members of BNI struggle, because they feel like they need to say everyone with teeth is a great client for me, when in reality that isn't necessarily the truth, because we all have clients that we kind of need to pass on to someone who they would be a better fit for.
Right.
Because I don't like to fire clients, but anyway,
it's easier not to hire them in the first place, for sure.
Wouldn't you say? Yeah. And so knowing specifically what you want is really, I think, going to make the difference in being able to go to a networking event and connect with the people that you want to connect with, because it's the connection. Clarity precedes connection, and connection precedes a contract. So that's my formula.
I like it. And even before going to the event, I think knowing what you want is crucial, in picking what event do you want to attend. Yeah. Are the right people going to be there that you're looking to see and you're looking to meet? And if you don't know who you're looking to see and looking to meet, then you have no way to say this is the right event for me or this is not the right event for me.
Exactly. So Tiffanie, do you, like, with that in mind, do you contact like the director of the event or something like that to get the guest list before you go?
As often as I can.
Okay. And I'm testing the waters here, because I know what I would do. So if somebody said to you, ooh, join my organization, and you asked for the guest list and they said, oh, that's private, you can't see it, would you join the organization?
I think there would probably be more to it. I would probably come back and say, what is it? Why is it that it's private? Why is it that you're not sharing who's attending the event? And it would probably depend on what they would say as a result of that. If they wouldn't share like their membership roster, and I mean, I get not asking for contact information. That's
absolutely.
Yeah, but if I was talking to an organization and I was like, can I get at least a list of the names and companies of people that are involved in your group? And they were like, no, I would be hesitant to wonder why that is.
Yeah, my answer has always been, if I don't know who's going to be there, then I cannot join.
Right.
Like it would be the equivalent of just picking an organization out of a hat and joining blind before you knew whether or not you were about their mission, passion, purpose, and vision to be right. So that's kind of where I'm at. So Tiffanie, what other nuggets do you want to share with everybody who is watching today?
So when it comes to networking, one of my favorite things to do, because I'm an introvert, is to go with a tag team partner. Mm-hmm. I especially like to find a tag team partner that has never met a stranger, that will go up to anyone, and we'll pair together, because I'll have the focus and they'll have the outgoingness. And the intention of a tag team partner is just we pair up, and when people ask me about what I do, I actually don't say anything. I let my partner talk, and vice versa. And what I find is most networkers really like this, because most people are more comfortable promoting others than they are promoting themselves. And so it gives you the opportunity to have a buddy, so you're not alone, to work the room with them. I usually try and pick somebody who, my challenges or their strengths, so we can work the room together. I promote that person, they promote me. And so, you know, I never want to go alone if possible. I want to have a buddy or a partner to go with me for the event. And we strategize before the event. You know, what are our goals for this evening? What is it that we're looking to accomplish? Who are we looking to meet? And how are we going to get that done?
Very cool. Yeah, I love tag teaming. I believe it or not, I know everybody thinks that I'm super extroverted, but I'm actually I'm more, when it comes to large rooms of people that I don't know, I'm much more on the introverted side than the extroverted side. So yeah, I definitely love, I have a couple of, I call them pollinators. They're the you know, like bumblebees, like pollinate. I call them my pollinators. And so this is really funny. They all know that I'm not a night person either, right? Because I get up at like 4 a.m. So you try to take me networking at 7 o'clock at night. I just want to sit on a bar stool. Like, I don't want to walk around and stand around. I've been up for way too long. So usually they'll just plop me on a bar stool and then bring people to me, which I think is really hilarious. You know, and they're good friends, you know, and they're willing to kind of work with me to help me build my business. And then of course, in the conversation, I'm saying, this guy is amazing. Like, if you have not had to meet with him, if you haven't talked with him, I mean, look at what he's doing for me and how he's helping me grow my business by bringing me here tonight. So, you know, I'm always propping up my referral partners for sure. In that process, but it definitely makes a difference if you're out on the hunt for each other, because ooh, I want you to meet Tiffany isn't the same thing as ooh, I wanted to meet you so you could buy my stuff.
Right. So much better the other way.
Yeah. And the other, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, the other thing, just to give people an idea of something to say if you're not really sure what to say, is I always let people know that I'm here to introduce the people I meet to the people I know. And then I ask them, who do you need to know? And they always say, really, how do you make money at that? And I say, I don't know. It just rains on me from heaven like manna. You know, it's like, I'm not in it for the money. Like, I'm not here tonight to make money. I'm here to make connections and have an impact. So I'm getting lots of love here. Thanks for the love.
Yeah, and I also find that when we go to a networking event with the intention of helping others or something other than just selling our product or service, it naturally comes around to what it is that you do, but you're leading with something else, and so it doesn't come across the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, we're kind of like at the 8:30 mark. So, if anybody
has one more tip?
Oh, yes.
Okay, last tip, and then we can do questions. So when you network, beautiful. But if you network without following up, you might as well have stayed home, stayed at the office.
Bingo.
Follow up is super, super crucial.
What's your favorite follow-up strategy?
So there's 3. Number 1 is a handwritten note, because people don't do handwritten notes, and what a great way to stand out. The second way, and this is what Dr. Meisner says, whatever you'll actually do. So if you'll only do email. If you only do phone calls, do phone calls. Whatever works. My favorite strategy, though, would be the third one, which is the platinum rule, which you're super familiar with, Virginia. You know, treat others the way that they want to be treated. And so if you can determine if they want you to follow up via phone, via email, via text, via Facebook messages, figure out what works best for them. That's the best way to follow up.
So you would receive the card and say, oh, hey, Virginia, thank you so much. How would you like me to follow up with you? Is that?
Well, yeah, I might actually ask that question. You know, some of it's behavioral styles, and in the room full of referrals, you know, they kind of give you hints on, you know, here's how you guess what they would prefer. I'd love to make a note. Do you prefer email, phone, text? What would be your preferred method of communication?
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. I love the behavioral styles, and I love understanding those things. And when you teach it, the number of, like, how many room full of referrals have you done? I mean, I've probably done 40, right? So when you teach it, the people walk in the room and you don't even need to do the scratch off. You're like, you go over there, you go there, you over here. And like 9 times out of 10, I'm right. But for those who haven't really studied behavioral styles or are not as comfortable networking, because you have to be super comfortable in your own skin while you're networking to be able to get out of your own way and really focus on other people. So I think the really interesting thing is that I'm super blunt. Maybe that's because I'm a D, right? But I'm like, When in doubt, just ask, like, oh, great, thanks for this card. How can I follow up with you? And they'll say, like, hey, let's have coffee, or just shoot me an email or whatever. One of the things that I want to encourage everybody to do, because I know that everybody watching here has a drawer of shame. And I don't know if you have a drawer of shame, but I did for a while. And then I met this guy named Daniel Rubenstein. So I'm going to do a shameless plug for him in just a minute. But you go networking, collecting business cards, right? And you're collecting business cards and you put them in a bag, and then you take them home, and then you rubber band them, and then you sit them on your desk. And then there's a pile like this big, and then you make another pile that big, and then they occupy the entire surface of your desk. So you open a drawer and you like swoosh them into a drawer, and then you never want to open the drawer, because the minute you open the drawer, you're going to see all the little people going, hey, you said you'd follow up. Right? And you never did. And then you blame yourself and you hate yourself, and you're like, I missed out on all that opportunity. So here's what I did. I grabbed every one of those cards. There were thousands of them. And I did two things. The first thing I did was I sat down and I looked them up on LinkedIn to see if I was second line connection. Because if you're second degree connected, you can become a friend. But wait, if you say, like, I've never done business with them and I just want to meet them, you have to have their email. But they gave you their business card, so you do. So I went ahead and connected with every single one of those people and said, I have your card. I have no idea where we met, when we met, what we talked about. I dye my hair this color so my outer world reflects my inner reality. And would you like to grab a cup of coffee, right? And people did. And they became part of my network, and it was great. And some people didn't. And I figured, if you're going to reach out to somebody and say, okay, I'm an idiot, I didn't follow up with you, act of contrition, totally sorry, I'm embarrassed, could I make it up to you and buy you a cup of coffee? And they don't respond back. Well, they didn't want to, who is this? It's THY Corster says, I'll grab a cup of coffee with you. Awesome. Connect with me on LinkedIn. We'll have coffee. If you don't live in St. Louis, we'll do it virtually. But I think doing something with those cards is so important. And then the other thing is, my friend Daniel has this company called All In Data, and you can send him a big box of business cards or handwritten slips, like from a trade show where people fill out their information. Yeah. And then you send that in a big box to him, and then he turns it into a usable data CSV file that you can upload and use email. It's for me as an entrepreneur, I don't, right now, my assistant has enough on his plate that he does not need to be typing in business cards into, it's a great, I'm a great, So
a great way to get rid of that drawer of shame.
Yeah. And oh man, it's like 100 pounds of shame. You just like shed it right off there. It's great. We all have enough shame, blame, guilt, and humiliation to last a lifetime. We don't need it in the form of business cards that we never followed up on. So yeah. So does anybody have any questions? Usually I get little questions in my question bar, but I haven't really gotten any questions. Or maybe somebody has a tip. People want to give us their cards and take us out for coffee, Tiffany.
That works.
They think you're cute. She's married, people. She's married, but she can be cute anyway. So is there anybody that has a question or maybe wants to pop in? And we've got 2 open seats. If somebody wants to join the conversation, we've got about 20 minutes left till 9 o'clock. So anybody? Nobody has any questions. That's great. All right. Oh, wait. I think, who just came on? I think this is Eddie.
Yeah, I see Eddie.
Hi. Dial in. Call in. Eddie. He's on. He just joined. I see his little face. Come on, Eddie. Here he comes. He's calling. Okay. Show caller. I have to accept you, Eddie. Ready? You have been accepted. Here he comes.
There we go.
There he is. It's our buddy, Eddie Esposito. He went on air. Eddie, is your camera on? Because I can't see you, babe. You might need to refresh and try again. Blab can be a little glitchy. So, gosh, you guys, Eddie Esposito is just a dear friend of mine and of Tiffany's. He's a vice president with the Referral Institute, and he's been our trainer and our mentor and our friend. And Eddie, you probably have to just refresh. Oh, he has a poor internet signal. We can hear you though.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Just leave it at that.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, good morning, guys. I didn't get the message. I didn't get the memo about the color coordination anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, are you wearing blue or purple, Tiff?
Blue.
I'm wearing purple. It just looks the same on the video.
Lighting.
Yeah, it's just the lighting. So Eddie, we're just talking about how to handle business cards and how to follow up. So I don't know if you've got any nuggets about what to do with business cards once you have them in your hand.
I was listening to what Tiffany was saying. Was go with the intent that the ones you're going to collect, you're going to follow up on. I mean, I think that's the biggest point of that whole thing is if you're going to collect the things and do something with them, do what you say you're going to do, and at least follow up with a thank you or a cursory, polite response. Because I mean, the worst thing that could happen, and this is a good thing, is you just want people to go around and say, "Hey, it was good to talk to that guy." If it doesn't go any further than that, at least there's good buzz at the very lowest level going around about you, and then from there, certainly your opportunities for appointments or other things go up. But I mean, nothing can go wrong, with the follow-up. Put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that Tiffany kind of ended the conversation with, if you don't follow up, you just wasted your evening, right? Yeah. So if you somehow manage to get out of your skin and go meet people and not stand on the side of the room wondering why you were there in the first place, but you had a plan and you went and you met the people you needed to meet and you got their business card and you followed up, that would probably work to change your business just a little bit.
Yeah, and like when I schedule networking events in my calendar, I schedule follow-up time from the networking event in my calendar within the next day or two, so that I don't run into that. I don't have time to follow up because it's already scheduled into the calendar.
Yeah, I think that's a place where people really have a challenge as well, which is that follow-up time. And that was actually something that came up one time in a class that I was teaching, that, hey, I'm doing all the work, but I'm not getting I get to Friday and the follow-up never happened. So we actually created my gift to you guys. It's a 2-4-2 rule. So the first 2 hours of your week you spend planning, not for this week, but for 3 weeks out. So that's when you decide 2 or 3 weeks out, who am I going to meet with and have face-to-face conversations with for networking purposes. Where am I going to go networking? What will be my agenda for that? So it's 2 hours of planning, then 4 hours of networking. And we like at least 2 of those hours to be face-to-face with one person. So moving people through they could be a good source to, they're a promoter of my business, to they really could bring me referral value, that we could exchange referrals, right? So 4 hours, at least 2 hours of that, if not 4. When you get your whole team built out, then you need more time face-to-face with those people. And then 2 hours of follow-up on all that stuff. So when we start looking at writing cards, follow-up phone calls, just doing what you said. So if you and I met for coffee and I said I was going to introduce you to 3 people, did I do that? Did I actually make time to create those introductions in my schedule? So everybody that I've worked with makes kind of a to-do list, and then on Friday for 2 hours from 3 to 5, the entire group knew that everybody was doing their follow-up, and then we would email like, I finished my follow-up, So it was like a support group for promoters who don't follow up really well. We're promoters.
I just say one other thing too on top of all that is, when you go to those events or any type of event like that, you just got to really get back to the basic thing, which is you chose this method as a way to market your business. And it's part of your marketing plan. And for most professional services or entrepreneur types, networking is the biggest piece of the marketing pie. It's not the only piece, but one of the biggest pieces. So you have to take it as though your business depends on you being successful at it. It's really important. Your mortgage, your kids' tuition, all those things depend on doing it. So don't leave any piece of it undone. So like you said, all the prep, like you were saying for the class or whatever, the prep for going to the event, actually being at work at the event, following up from the event. I mean, that's how you would run a marketing plan. I think you just got to take it that seriously. And you'll have good events and you'll have events that you don't really care for that much. But regardless, it's still part of your marketing plan, and you have to treat it that way because the business in your life depends on it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that whenever you're doing going networking or even having a one-to-one, setting an objective, planning to meet the objective, having an agenda, and then follow up and follow through are critical. So those 5 elements are essential to your success if you want networking, if you want to turn networking into an actual marketing function for your business. It's a plans, objectives, agendas, follow up, follow through is super, super important. So, so guys, I need to refresh because I lost a little piece of this. So don't go anywhere. I'm going to refresh. And Tiffanie, why don't you go ahead and share some final thoughts while I back out and hop back in.
All right. So to me, it's super important when you think about networking, I think, to realize that networking is a piece of your referral marketing. It's where you can go to meet people. It's where you can go to find the people to make connections. But networking is just kind of like the first step. And so much of it will happen one-on-one and developing those stronger relationships. So realize that networking, it's like dating. You're looking to find the right handful of people. Well, okay, in dating one, but the right people to be able to move forward in your referral relationships.
Very good. Very good. All right, guys. Well, that kind of, we're going to call that a show. I'm so excited that we got Eddie on here, even just if it was just his voice. And you make a great point, Eddie, that if you're a small business owner, if you're a solopreneur, this networking thing, you got to transform it into a marketing effort. And marketing requires planning, objectives, measurement, just the way you would want to measure a print ad or measure the effectiveness of a TV spot or a radio spot. You absolutely want to make sure that your networking has measurable objectives, and that you're out there doing what you need to do. But most importantly, taking your eyes off yourself, putting your eyes on others, and helping the people you meet get to know the people that you know. So Tiffanie, hold up your book one more time and tell everybody, where can we get a copy? Hold it up a little higher. Good. There it is.
4.5 Networking Mistakes. You can go to Amazon.com. And if you put in 4 networking mistakes, or my name, which is Tiffanie, Tiffanie, Kellog, Kellog, or it looks like it's up here on the screen too. It should pull that up. It's available in paperback and Kindle version as well.
All right, great. So you guys, if you want to avoid making these 4.5 networking mistakes, and you really want to turn your networking into a marketing process for your businesses, I highly recommend that you go to Amazon and get Tiffany's 4.5 networking mistakes, avoid them, and take her 19 nuggets and implement, because nothing happens until you implement. You can read all the books you want, but you got to just do something different to get to a different place. So Tiffanie, thanks for spending your morning with us. We really appreciate you being on Get Connected. Eddie, it was great having you pop in. I'm sorry we didn't get to see your happy face.
I got a face made for radio anyway. Come on.
There you go. All right. So to everybody who's viewing today, thanks for being on. And we look forward to seeing you next week on Get Connected. So thanks, guys, and go out and network away and be remarkable.
Yeah.